What would you eat for a quick lunch if there were no McDonald's, Burger Kings, or Jack in the Box around the corner? Stay tuned as we pack a tasty vegetarian picnic basket, including a veggie burger. Hello, I'm Marcella Lynch. Welcome to Food for Thought, the cooking show featuring God's eating plan as unfolded through Scripture and through God's other book, the Book of Nature. Today we're going on a picnic without the hamburger, pickles, relish, mustard, chips, pork and beans, high sugar dessert, or Coke. Our picnic food will be delicious, however, and it will be packed with whole nourishing food. Zero cholesterol. Well, why leave these traditional items out? Because they're just not a part of God's ideal way of eating. Pickles, relishes, mustards, they're irritating substances that inflame the delicate linings, and they make an impure blood. Chips are high in salt and fat, and Coke contains the drug caffeine, and it contains no real food. God's ideal diet is meatless, and we'll make a vegetarian burger patty for our whole wheat buns. There's a nice text here in Isaiah 55, verse 2, that always reminds me. It says, "Why do you spend money for what is not bread, and your wages for what does not satisfy? Listen carefully to me and eat what is good, and let your soul delight itself in abundance." Well, our picnic menu today is going to be Boston baked beans, potato salad, veggie burger patties in a bun. We're going to be making vegetable relishes and apple cake and have some fruit juice to drink. So here we go. Let's start making our picnic lunch that we're going to take to the park. Myrna? Hi, Myrna.
Good morning, Marcella.
I'm glad we're here to pack this lunch together because it brings back a lot of memories to me. I don't know if about you.
Me too.
I wouldn't want to guess how old your kids are now, but mine are almost 30. But remember back in those years when they were like elementary school?
Yes.
And we went on so many picnics together and went birding, especially because Myrna and Ray are real birders, and we've learned a lot together, haven't we?
We have.
Well, we have a nice picnic basket all planned here, and it's full of goodies for our lunch. And we would just like to start from the beginning and pack it up for you, and then we'll bring it back. Myrna, you help me to remember to bring that back, and we'll unpack it and look at everything we've made.
All right, I'll do that.
Before we begin making our picnic food, though, I just wanted to mention that you may want to take a pad of paper and a pen and write down some of the recipes as we go along. Or you can order the recipes from the cookbook. At the end of the show, the address will be given. There is a page back here in this Cooking by the Book on page 293 that talks about the condiments and the spices and the things that we mentioned at the beginning of the show that are different about this natural kind of a picnic. In our modern way of eating, we seem like we want to put something on top of everything, relishes, mustard, ketchup, pickles, everything, and it's not exactly, health foods, all of these things. But this chart here kind of shows us which are irritating substances, what it is that they're actually doing to us in our bodies, and what is the name of the chemical in the food that is causing the problem. For example, black pepper is what we call an irritant, and it has an effect of irritating our gastrointestinal tract and kind of inflaming on the inside of us. And then there's a list here at the bottom of the non-irritating herbs. And so in our natural way cooking, we like to just use the natural herbs from the land and not the irritating spices that would cause an inflaming condition in the body. So, Myrna, let's begin with our Boston baked beans. Now, we're meatless here, if you remember, so we won't be putting the pork in the beans. But I got this recipe many years ago from a lady in Boston who is 80-some years old, and she was a vegetarian, and so I think it's a good recipe and you'll enjoy it. Let's take a look at the ingredients for Boston baked beans first of all. All right, we have 1 pound of great northern beans or the small whites, 1 to 2 teaspoons salt, 2 tablespoons oil, 1 cup tomato sauce, 3 tablespoons dark molasses, 1 onion or more that you can just leave whole, and 3 tablespoons of light brown sugar or honey. Right, so the directions for making the beans is very typical, and we'll just need to cook the beans first. So here we have the beans swelled up after they've been soaked here. And once you soak the beans, then you just need to cook them in the pan. And of course, Myrna was my magician in the kitchen here. And Myrna, you just come over here and help me because we can just work together on this.
I'll bring our bowl.
Myrna has four children, and we have 2. So she's had a lot of cooking experience. And so I'll let you mix things up here while I give you the ingredients. And it says here, after we cook the beans, then we just put everything else together, and then we put it in the baking dish. And one of the secrets to this recipe is that you bake it very slow and long, 4 to 6 hours. So you make them a little more soupy at the beginning so that it can keep cooking. 1 to 2 teaspoons of salt, and that's just according to your taste. 2 tablespoons of oil. Sometimes in vegetarian recipes, when you're not putting all that pork or meat, we just put a little touch of oil in there to make it just a little more smooth and slickish feel like people that are used to the meat, but you can leave it out. 1 cup of tomato sauce instead of ketchup, which we know has irritating vinegar and spices in it. We're just using tomato sauce. 3 tablespoons of molasses. So this is the dark molasses. Grandma's old-fashioned molasses is fine too, but this gives a nice Boston flavor to it. And some people put maple flavoring or maple sugar in their molasses. So if you like to do that, and if you're really from Boston, you can do it that way.
Seems like everybody kind of customizes it to fit their family style, and I like that part of it.
I do too, and I know sometimes I give Myrna some of my recipes to make for me, and then she doctors them up and changes them before I see them again. Okay, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. That's kind of chunky. See if you can get that dissolved in there. And then I usually just give it the taste test, which we won't take the time to do here, to see if I've balanced the flavors right. And so what I usually do then is put this whole onion in the pot that you're going to bake it in, and then just take it out after it's baked. So let's spray this baking dish here. Now you need to keep these covered while they're baking so that the liquid will not evaporate out and make a dry pot of beans. Let me see, do you think we have those soupy enough? For now I think they look fine, don't you? Let's put this onion right here so that you can just pour that over there.
I'd like to check them after they've been going in the oven for a little while to make sure that they are still moist enough.
Right, sometimes I add a little bit more liquid to it, and then it won't get too dry. I don't like them real dry. I think that the ones we're going to show you right now could have had a little liquid stirred in on the way, but we'll show them to you anyway. And since we don't have a regular lid to put on here, we're just using foil today. And we'll just put that in the oven.
All right.
And then I'll get this pot of beans here.
Okay.
And so these are our picnic beans that we'll take on our picnic. And these are very high in protein and a very good source of carbohydrates. So here's the first recipe, Boston baked beans. All right, potato salad. That's a typical recipe for a picnic. So we're going to go back here to page 192, potato salad. Well, what's different about a potato salad?
Here are your ingredients, and I'll take away your
tray
if you don't mind.
Get set up here for the next one.
I'll just get those in our picnic basket.
Yeah,
and
we need
those
ready. Okay, the thing that's kind of different about this potato salad is it doesn't have all the pickles and mayonnaise and eggs and things that are a little known to be either high in cholesterol or irritants. And so you can make it kind of nice. Sometimes if you're just beginning to eat God's way, you have to kind of talk to yourself and re-educate your mind and your taste buds a little bit to appreciate God's simple things. And at first you might think these are kind of plain tasting, but after you learn to appreciate just the natural flavors, we think it's quite good. I've made this recipe for my high school students where I teach home economics, and they don't think they're going to like it when they see me put all this parsley and onions and celery in there, but then they taste it and they say, wow, this is good. So I think they get surprised. All right, before we make the salad, though, we want to show you how to make mayonnaise. On page 194 here, there are several recipes for making mayonnaise without the vinegar, without the raw eggs, and without some of the irritating spices. All right, let's take a look at the ingredient list for the mayonnaise here. 1 1/4 cups water, 1/2 cup unbleached white flour, 1 to 2 tablespoons lemon juice, 1 1/2 teaspoons honey, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then garlic, onion powder, herbs, dill weeds, so just to taste, homemade curry powder, and an optional 1/2 cup of oil, which I pretty much leave out. So here we go. We're going to do this in the blender. So Myrna, I'll let you help me here. And we're just going to combine 1 1/4 cups of water in the blender with the flour. And this will be cooked, so we want to just whiz this nice and smooth here. And then we'll put it in our pan on the stove.
I will get the pan.
This cooked mixture will hold up and keep in the refrigerator a little bit longer. So we'll just cook this and thicken this mixture, and then we'll put it back in the blender to do some other ingredients with it. It just says to return it to the blender and add the lemon juice, the honey, and the salt. Just kind of whiz that up till it's creamy, adding any of the optional ingredients that you like, and that's it. You end up with 1 3/4 cup of mayonnaise. But let's just use the same blender again. And we just have our magic here. We have this cooked mixture ready. Thank you, Myrna. So this is kind of thick now because we made this a little ahead and it got cold. But you can see by the time we put this back in the blender and whiz it up, it will be a nice thick mixture, sort of like mayonnaise. And I really feel better about eating mayonnaise. It doesn't have raw eggs in it, and they can carry some diseases, and it's some spices and things that we'll just not be adding here. So let's go ahead and put the lemon juice in here. Again, that was 1 to 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, and of course if you can use the fresh, it's even a nicer flavor. 1 1/2 teaspoons of honey. I'll borrow that little rubber spatula again. Something just to balance the tartness with the sweetness in the recipe. And the salt here, again, was 1/2 teaspoon. Now the garlic and onion powder to taste, you might just want to shake. This is the onion powder. Just whoop, shake a little in there. And you get so you kind of know the way you like it. Some people like a more bland, plain mayonnaise, and some like a little more seasoning. Now I'll talk to you about this curry powder here. You can make your own curry powder from the recipe in our book. And it's a non-irritating curry powder, and it just so happens that the curry is irritating, the kind that you buy. But curry is a mixture. It's a mixture of several different things, the kind that you buy. But the one we have here in the cookbook on page 260 is turmeric, 1 tablespoon, and 1 tablespoon of cumin, also 1 tablespoon coriander, and 1 tablespoon of garlic powder. And these are all nice, sweet herbs. So our recipe calls,
is it 4 teaspoons?
For just a little bit. It's like one of those optional things you can
Okay.
just kind of put in. I think I'll just try 1/4 there. Okay. Gives a little yellow tone to it, kind of a cream-colored look to the mayonnaise too. And I like to add a little dill weed because it kind of gives you that pickle taste, you know, helps in. And I'll also be putting some of that dill weed in the potato salad itself. The only other thing we have is a little oil. I'm just going to wait and see if we want to add it or leave it out. Let's go ahead and whiz this smooth first. check the thickness of this. This really did its work. It's setting up pretty thick, but I don't want it too thin. This is really pretty good. I think maybe I'll just put a tiny bit of water in there to just kind of make the consistency a little. Give it time, don't rush it, and get it nice and creamy and smooth. And then you can just pour that into some kind of a container. I'll just pour a little back into this cup here so we can see it. And then this is what we would keep in our refrigerator to use for mayonnaise. Now there's some other mayonnaise recipes in the book that are not the kind that you cook. So if you're too lazy to do the cooking, or you don't like this procedure, you can do a different one. When I make some of these healthy mayonnaises and mixtures up, it's nice to use purified water or distilled water, and then it keeps a little longer in the refrigerator. But that looks like mayonnaise. Okay, that looks great. Let's go ahead and make our potato salad then, Myrna. We'll take that tray away and we'll turn our attention here to page 61, here where we have our potato salad recipe. Wow, that's not the one. Let's go back here to 192. And let's take a look at the potato salad ingredients here. Okay, for the potato salad, 4 large cooked potatoes sliced. I'm always generous and make a couple extras. 1/2 cup celery diced fine. 1/2 cup green onions chopped fine. 2 tablespoons lemon juice. 1/4 cup chopped parsley. 1 cup mayonnaise. 1 teaspoon salt, and a few lettuce leaves just to go around to the outside of the bowl. And some dill weed, which is optional. All right, so let's just mix everything together here for the potato salad. And Myrna, I think I'm going to ask you to bring that dill. Oh, we got some more here.
We have dill.
Okay, so we've got our potatoes already sliced here. And we'll just mix everything together. It really goes fast when you have them already chopped for you, but I use a food processor at home a lot to chop things up. And we're going to just start by, let's see, shall we put the mayonnaise in first? I just think it doesn't matter, but it calls for 1/2 cup of celery. And let's just wait and do the mayonnaise just to see how much we need after we get everything else in. So we'll put the celery, the onions, the lemon juice. The lemon juice combined with that little bit of dill gives you that pickle taste. You might ask, what's the matter with pickles? Well, vinegar is an irritant, and of course they're always brined and packed in vinegar. That's part of the process. And you can make lemon juice pickles. I do have some of those, but I'm not using them today. The other problem about pickles is they're really high in salt, which we have to be kind of careful about the sodium. So it's just better to enjoy your cucumbers fresh if you can. And here's the salt that we need to put in here for seasoning. And again, that's just to taste. You can suit yourself. And let's just put a little bit of dill in here. Now, when you taste this at the end, then you can...
That's your lemon juice.
This is the lemon juice. Okay. Then you can see if it needs more lemon juice. Sometimes I'll mix everything all together, and then I'll end up adding more lemon juice because you just want that fine balance between the tartness and all. I'm
going to get the bowl we want to put it in to take it in our
picnic.
Okay,
let's keep our garnish things here so that we can fix it pretty after we get all through here.
Okay.
And then we'll just see, if you make your potato salad the day ahead too, it might need to just have a little bit more mayonnaise put on it. And if you're using the store-bought type mayonnaise, you can actually put a little water in here to thin it down so that you don't have to add so much mayonnaise, or you could actually put some mashed up tofu or something to give a little more moisture instead of all the mayonnaise that it calls for. Right? So we're going to get this ready in our picnic container because we're going on a picnic. Another nice thing about this particular kind of mayonnaise, you don't have to worry about having food poisoning or salmonella from this because there's just absolutely not much in there that would cause a problem at all. There's no animal products. And if you want to know that comparison when you have regular mayonnaise, you're having about a tablespoon. Every tablespoon of mayonnaise is about 100 calories in. So we just didn't put much oil at all in this one, and it's very low in calories. And I hope that you'll like it. Myrna, I'll just give you the job of putting the decoration on there.
Oh, we'll just see if we can get it
So
on
you can make
here
it
real
look
quick.
pretty.
If you soak your radishes in a little cold water, it helps them puff out and look a little nicer. We'll just put this one right here in the center and put a little parsley around the edge so that it gives you a little color. And then let's just put our lid on, and we'll be ready to put that right in our picnic basket. We need to do our burgers yet, and I'll be right back with those.
Yeah, we need to take a look at this burger recipe. It's on page 61. And we're making tofu burgers. Lots of different kind of vegetarian burgers that you can make, but we'll try this one today. And the ingredients are 1 cup of oatmeal, 1 small onion, 3 tablespoons of wheat germ, plus 1 tablespoon of brewer's yeast, or you can just use 4 tablespoons of brewer's yeast. And then 1 cup tofu, the regular or firm type, 1/2 teaspoon sage, 1 tablespoon soy flour, 2 tablespoons soy sauce, 1/2 teaspoon garlic powder, and optional some chopped celery if you like. All right, we're ready to go here. We're just going to mix all the ingredients together, Myrna. And this will be a quick one. I'm assuming that everyone knows how to fry up a patty, so we'll just get it ready. Here's what they look like finished, but we want to mix them up and show them what goes in it here. These are the tofu burgers. We've got some nice whole wheat buns here, and we'll just take our bowl and start right in. So we need a cup of oatmeal here, 1 small onion chopped. Chop it nice and fine. 3 tablespoons of wheat germ plus brewer's yeast. Brewer's yeast is like nutritional food yeast flakes. It gives a lot of cheesy, kind of meaty flavor, and it also is full of B vitamins. It's good. This is the tofu here that's been measured as 1 cup. And that goes in. And then let's put the seasonings in here. 1/2 teaspoon of sage. That'll make them taste really good. The soy flour binds it together. You can go ahead and stir that if you'd like to, Myrna, and then we can have time to talk about our apple cake. Okay. This is soy sauce that's going in. 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder was in with the sage. And then we wanted to tell you about the mustard. I'll let you just mix that around for a little bit. We have mustard is a very traditional thing to put on a burger, but doesn't this look like mustard? We have a recipe in the book here for kind of a healthy mustard, and the ingredients are very simple. It's 1 cup of mayonnaise that you start with, whatever kind of mayonnaise you're making, and you put 2 teaspoons of some turmeric. That makes it turn kind of yellow and gives a little flavor. 2 teaspoons of onion juice, or very finely diced onion. 2 tablespoons of chopped parsley. You can see we have the parsley here. Tablespoon of lemon juice, and just a dash of paprika, garlic, onion, whatever. But this is on page 262 in the cookbook, and we just like to use this with some of our homemade mayonnaise, and you can put that in your sandwich with your burgers when you make them for your picnic. And of course then you put it with all the trimmings here. As you can see, we've got our little picnic basket ready with avocado, tomatoes. I like a little onion in mine because it makes it have that zippity-doo-dah without any of the pickles and everything. So we'll get this all ready for our picnic basket here, Myrna, and I'll let you finish this. Okay. And I think we just have enough time left to talk about our apple cake, so let's take these things back and bring up our apple cake here. Apple cake recipe is on page 225 of the cookbook, and it actually is leavened with yeast. I don't know if you've ever tried making a cake leavened with yeast, but baking powder and soda are irritants, and this can be made also without the eggs. And I have a product that you can use in recipes that I'd like to show you that's called Energy Egg Replacer. And whenever a recipe calls for an egg, like in desserts and cakes and a lot of applications, you can just use this Energy Egg Replacer. And it's a powder that looks just a little bit like cornstarch. It's white, and it's something that you can just use. It lasts a long time. One of these boxes will just be a long time, maybe a year or two, but you take a teaspoon and a half of this and stir it in with 2 tablespoons of water to equal 1 egg. And it's got recipes here for cookies and cakes and all kind of different things that you can use this. And so it's a nice culinary egg substitute. So here's what our apple cake looks like. It's got nice shredded apples in it and nuts. And let's see here what else. It's got a little brown sugar, a half a cup, 1/2 cup raisins, 2 cups of shredded apples. So a lot of the sweetening in here is simply just the fruit. 1/2 cup chopped nuts, 1/4 of a cup of oil, and then you could use 1 egg white or some of this energy egg replacer, which we use the egg replacer, 1 cup of whole wheat flour, 1½ teaspoons of cinnamon substitute. In other words, cinnamon is an irritant, unfortunately, and we have a recipe back here in the book that you can make a mixture of cardamom and coriander, and that gives you that nice flavor like like cinnamon, something like it, only a little bit different. Then it's leavened with a tablespoon of yeast that's been mixed in 1/4 of a cup of warm water or juice and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And that's the ingredients for the apple cake. And we'll just add this to the picnic basket. Well, let's leave this open, and then you can just go ahead, Myrna, and unpack this basket at the end here. So here are the Boston baked beans. And we have our sandwiches, tofu burgers with all the trimmings, our red onions, tomatoes, avocados, and our home-style homemade mustard is in there. And here's our homemade potato salad. And let's just get packed up, Myrna, and go on this picnic. All right. We want to remind you that this program is sponsored by Three Angels Broadcasting Network, and we appreciate your prayers and financial support. We hope you'll join us next time for more Food for Thought.
If you've enjoyed the recipes and cooking tips in this program, you'll want to order our Food for Thought resource sheet. We'll tell you how you can order the cookbooks you've seen used on this program, along with other information that will help you cook healthful, attractive vegetarian meals. For your free copy of our Food for Thought resource sheet, please write to us at Food for Thought, P.O. Box 220, West Frankfort, Illinois 62896, or call 618-627-4651.